be listening out. Shalom to come. It's still Torah in the Torah Parashah Toldot, generations of Isaac. Okay. Now remember that we have the next new moon is going to be on December 6th. December 6th is the next new moon, and the Passover is on March 18th. I'm sorry, on April 18th is Passover. April 18th is the date for Passover. And also remember that we have the Hebrew Israelite Summit. All right, we have the Hebrew Israelite Summit that's coming up in Atlanta in January of 2019. All right, January 2019, from the 24th to the 26th. Okay, from the January 5th, 26th, and 27th. Right, January, and then we have the Passover coming up on April 18th, and then we have the next new moon coming up on December 6th. So mark these dates on your calendar, mark them down, and I'll remind you every time I come on, so you know when they are. And if you're looking at this as an archive, then you'll know when it was. So once again, the next new moon is January. Next new moon is December 6th. Method, and I have a video about the website, the Banya Yasha Aleph YouTube page. Just type in the playlist for new moons and it'll give you everything. So next new moon, according to the elder of Torah and law enforcement of Masharah Yasha, is going to be December 6th. And the Passover, according to the elder of Torah and law enforcement of Masharah Yasha, is going to be April 18th. Okay, so now Shalom Lekah Ashar. Now today's Torah portion, we're going to go into Genesis chapter 27, verse 28 to Genesis chapter 28, verse 3. And we deal in this chapter with white power and how the so-called white man got his power on the earth. All right. And also we getting to see that the paradise of brown people all across the world had fallen victim to white power, or the power of Esau. Father Isaac put that thing on him and told him, go out in the field with your sword and with your bow and go hunt. And that spirit never left off the so-called white man. He still take his bow and his sword and goes out into the field, which represents the world, and kills and hunts people. That's why he's always digging up things around the earth. Wants to investigate things. He was a cunning hunter. He was a knowledgeable hunter. So he studied his prey. He studied his cultures. He studied the languages. All right. He speaks the language of every person on the planet Earth, because he dominates and controls and conquered the world. All right. So now we're going to start off with Genesis chapter 27, verse 28. Now remember, I'm not reading from a King James Bible right now. I'm reading from the Chumash, the stone edition of the Chumash, with the Hebrew on the right hand side of the page right here, and the English on the left of the side of the page right here. So if there's any discrepancies in the words that we see in the English, we can just look right over to the right hand side and see if the Hebrew says the same thing. Run right it and then come back and give the midrash on it. All right, so bear with me. Now Genesis chapter 27, verse 28, and we're going to stop at 28 and 3. All right. And may Allah give you of the dew of the heavens, of the fatness of the earth, and abundant grain and wine. Peoples will serve you, and regimes will prostrate themselves to you, to be a lord of your kinsmen. And your mother's sons will prostrate themselves to you. Cursed be they who curse you, and blessed be they. And it was, when Isaac was finished blessing Jacob, that Jacob had scarcely left from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came back from his hunt. He too made delicacies and brought them to his father. And he said unto his father, let my father rise and eat of his son's game, so that your soul will bless me. Isaac his father said to him, where are you? And he said, who are you? And he said, I am your firstborn son, Esau. Then Isaac trembled in very great perplexity and said, who? Where is the one who hunted game, brought it to me, and I partook of all when you had not yet come? And I blessed him. Indeed, he shall remain blessed. Isaac his father said to him, Salakia, verse 34, when Esau heard his father's words, he cried out with exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, bless me too, father. But he said, your brother came with cleverness and took your blessing. He said, is it because his name was called Jacob, Yaquab, that he outwitted me these 2 times? He took away my birthright, and see, now he took away my blessing. Then he said, have you not reserved a blessing for me? Isaac answered and said to Esau, behold, a Lord have I made him over you, and all his kin have I given him as servants. With grain and wine have I supported him. And for you, where? What can I do, my son? And Esau said to his father, have you but one blessing, father? Bless me too, father. And Esau raised his voice and wept. So Isaac his father answered and said to him, behold, the fatness of the earth shall be your dwelling, and of the dew of the heaven from above. By your sword you shall live, but your brother you shall serve. Yet it shall be, when you are aggrieved, you may cast off his yoke from off your neck. Now Esau harbored hatred toward Yaquab Jacob because of the blessing which his father had blessed him. And Esau thought, may the days of mourning for my father draw near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob, Yaquab. When Rebekah was told the words of her oldest son Esau, she sent and summoned Yaquab Jacob, his younger son, and said to him, behold, your brother is consoling himself regarding you to kill you. For now, my son, heed my voice and arise, flee to my brother Laban to Haran, and remain with him a short while until your brother's wrath subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides, and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both of you on the same day? Rebekah said to Isaac, I am disgusted with my life on account of the daughters of Heth. If Yaquab Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth like these of the daughters of the land, what is life to me? So Isaac summoned, that's end of chapter 27. when we finish reading the chapter, we say all that Yahweh have said will we do in here to bring ourselves into covenant with that word that we just read. Kala Shara Dabari Yahweh, na Aisha, wa na Shemai. All that Yahweh have said will we do in here. Now the end of the portion, end of this Aliyah, chapter 28, verses 1 through 3. So Isaac summoned Yaakov Jacob and blessed him and instructed him and said to him, do not take a wife from the Canaanite women. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And Yah El Shaddai bless you, make you fruitful, and make you numerous, and may you be a congregation of peoples. Okay? And of course, congregation of people, La Kohal Anyam. All right, so that's the Torah portion for today on this Aliyah. So now I'll just do a quick, making pretty good time. I'll do a quick midrash about it. Okay. Jacob has gone into his father, our father Isaac, okay, which is a brown-skinned man. All right, so he's gone into Isaac, his father, and he's gotten his father Isaac to bless him. Okay, to bless him. Now the blessing is that he says you're going to be blessed if you bless me. You're going to be cursed when you curse me. So every person that's come against the so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they brought curses upon themselves. And you can see this with the French when they rose up very well. They all got a yellow fever. They got all kinds of diseases when they rose up against the Haitians. And that's a double curse because the Most High said, "Smite through the loins, them that rise up against you." So that's why how the French were pretty much the losers of that battle, that revolution that the Haitians started against them. All right, fighting for their freedom. Okay, so now what we have is he's blessing him. He's blessing Jacob, and when he blesses Jacob, Jacob is going to take that blessing, and that's going to be like a small protection. So what you see happening to our people now, all right, would be a lot worse if the Most High didn't put some sort of curses on our enemies in some shape, form, or fashion. Now the Most High said unto Jacob, all right, the Most High told Jacob, he said that what I'm going to give you is the fat of the heavens. All right, I'm going to give you the dew of the heavens and the fatness of the earth. And that's why you see Jacob dwelling in the places where he's at now, the most richest and fertile parts of the earth. Even in our curse, that still stayed with us. All right, Jamaica, beautiful place, beautiful island. All right, Dominican Republic and Haiti together, beautiful places with wondrous crystal clear waters. All right, Barbados, lands that had never been inhabited before. We were the first to come into those lands. Look at the landscape of America before the so-called white much. All types of hot springs, beautiful geological formations, different climates throughout the whole range of it, clean oceans and lakes and rivers, the Mississippi flowing through it. All right, all these rivers and streams and creeks flowing all through America had very, very lush soil, very fertile soil. All right. So you go into Mexico, you have tropical areas, you have fruits and vegetables that grow all year round. There's places where you don't have to water from the top, but the evaporation from the water comes underneath of the soil and goes into the roots and nourishes the food like that. So that's the blessing, basically going into the tropical area, South America and the Caribbean. It was just like a future prophecy. All right. So now the Most High tells the so-called white man through the spirit of Isaac, you know what? You're going to get the fatness of the earth too. And your dwelling is going to be the dwelling of the dew of heaven above. So now what Isaac has done, he's giving Esau and Jacob the same blessing. Esau and Jacob going to have a major clash, one sound clash. They had a sound clash. Esau versus Jacob. So Isaac set this in motion from centuries ago. Now that goes into the Americas. That's why the so-called white man had to fulfill what was written here and what we see Ezra saying in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 13. The so-called white man had to follow Jacob over into the land that was the fatness of the earth, which is going into North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean, dwelling in the same place, and the land of all lands that the Most High gave Isaac is also going into the land of Israel. It's also going into the land of Israel. It's also going into the land of Israel, which is the Most High say this is his favorite land. So it says by the sword, Esau is going to live. That means that the so-called white man, Esau, when we go into the book of Ezekiel chapter 35 and 36, very key chapter you must read when understanding how and why the white man is in Israel today. All right. So he said that the so-called white man is going to take over this fatness of the earth with his sword. And that's exactly how he took over Israel from the Africans and the Arabs, the children of Ishmael, who were living there. He took it from them with the sword. How did he get a hold of where Jacob was at? So this shows us that the Arabs are not the children of Esau, because exactly where Jacob is, which is the blessing of the fatness of the earth that was put upon him by his father Isaac, that's exactly where the so-called white man is going to follow him to that place. But the Most High put an extra spirit on Esau to want to hunt, to want to kill, and to live by that sword. So that's why when he came into the Americas, he brought the sword. When the Spaniards came into the Mexico, South America, the Caribbean, they brought the sword. All right. When the so-called white man, the children of Esau, came into West Africa to take us from there to be slaves in the land that was the land that was lush, the land that was the dew of heavens, the land that was the land that was the fatness of the earth. He brought what? He brought the sword. And we see that in Genesis chapter 27, verse 40. By your sword shall you live, but your brother you shall serve. But the so-called white man did serve the so-called black man, the so-called brown-skinned Latino, Hispanic, and Native American peoples and black people when we were ruling in Europe. When we ruled in Europe, and also when we controlled the Middle East, and also when we had our caravans before the so-called white man came into thorough power, and then he fell out of power. Remember, we came back into power and took over the Roman Empire in approximately 193 193 AD with Septimius Severus. And then Constantine in 333 solidified our positions and then spread the knowledge of the Bible, although he mixed paganism with it throughout the Roman Empire. And so-called white people were subjugated to the heads of the Roman Empire, which at that time were the so-called black people, so-called brown-skinned people, so-called Latino, Hispanic, and Native American peoples. A remnant of them were left before we went over into the Americas, okay? So now let's get back to this thing with Esau. So Esau's blessing is that he's going to live by the sword. Now remember, Esau was given the fatness of earth shall be your dwelling, and of the dew of the heavens from above. Jacob was given the exact same thing. That means at some point in history, our paths had to converge. But what's going to give the so-called white man the upper hand, according to the spirit that's on him, that Isaac put on him, is the sword. That's why it says the fatness of the earth. The fatness of the earth in verse 39. All right, it says the fatness of the earth that he's going to have. All right. It says ma shemanya ha'aratzah. That means the fatness, also going into the resources that you extract from the earth, going into the oils. All right. The so-called, let me tell you something. The so-called Arabs do not control the oil trade. The so-called white man went in there under the Bush families and made them Arabs give up that oil. They don't control it. So-called white man controls it. So-called Arabs can't defend themselves against America. against Britain, France, Germany, and if they decided to go over there and take what they got. They're just being nice about it, giving the Arabs a little cut, and then all these companies are in there, all right, making money off of the oil. Halliburton should have showed you that when they were in Iraq and Kuwait, how they took over all the oil fields down there. You understand? So the so-called Arabs do not control the oil. The people in Venezuela do not control the oil. The so-called white man controls the whole global economy of everything. So the fatness of the earth is the blessing that was given to who? Esau and Jacob. So however we interpret this, it has to be something that applies to both groups of people. And we have to see somebody coming in with the sword in order to control that region. And once again, that's getting into the whole transatlantic slave trade, that's getting into the whole conquest of the Americas. Not only that, but the fatness of the earth when we go into places like Sri Lanka. Okay, we go into places like Singapore. When we go into places like Hawaii, the so-called white man has gone over there, taking over those regions also, using what? Using his sword. You see that? Not the Arabs. The Arabs haven't done this. So this is how, so that's why when we read the Torah, it defines that we believe, so there's no arguments. We don't got to put up pictures of memes and pictures all over Facebook to say this is who the Arabs are, this is who the so-called white man is. All you have to do is know a little history, read the Torah, and it's going to explain everything to you, man. So the doctrines got to begin and start with the Torah. If it ain't in there, guess what? It probably ain't even important. So why waste our breath and time discussing and arguing and fussing about it, huh? All right, so now we see that now she, he said he's going to break the yoke off the neck, which we know this happened around the 15th century, the mid-15th century, when the so-called white man under the Ottoman Turks took over the eastern part of the Roman Empire and everything. You know, that's going to the latter Crusades area. The latter Crusades era. And now we also see that she says, go to my brother Laban, and when you go to him, I want you to take a wife from our family, from our people that are in that part of the region. I don't want you taking a woman from these Hamite Canaanite women. And that's what Esau did. He ran behind, all right, the so-called African women. And that's exactly what he did during his conquest, all right? It's the African women that he's over there, marrying and chilling with, all throughout Africa. I know, white guy that went over to Africa to live and got himself a little Hamite wife over here. All right, but anyway, so he says keep it in the family. Marry within your own kinspeople. Marry within your own Marry within your own kinspeople. Marry within your own group of people. Don't go outside and dealing with other nations or whatever. All right. So now he gives another blessing to Isaac. Says, may the Most High make you fruitful and make you numerous and be congregations of people. And that's how we came to occupy North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean with our people. If you take just our people alone in the Americas, remember, white people mainly are in America. Outside of America, we are the majority population in the Western Hemisphere, Black and indigenous rooted people. You might call yourself Hispanic, Latino, but you're not. You're indigenous. All right. You have different shades of brown skin. The so-called Black man has different shades of brown skin, but he has a different texture of hair than the other tribe. But it's the same family. Remember, there's no monolithic look of an Israelite. Israelites are Middle Eastern people, and our region is Afro-Asiatic. So you're going to have people that look like a mixture of different African, so-called, and different so-called Asian groups of people. Hindu, Chinese, Arab, African. We have that mix all together because that's where we're from. That's what our bloodline is. The bloodline of the white man, the Arabs, and the bloodline of the Africans and the Arabs and the so-called white man, I'm sorry, the bloodline of the so-called white man and the Arabs come from us, our fathers. And the bloodline of the so-called Africans come from our father Noah. So we all got the same father. So you can't trip and say, well, you're not an Israelite because your hair is like this, or your complexion is like this. We all come from Noah. And then the Most High determined through Shem the different shades and the different complexions. Some of them look more like Shem. Some of them look more like Ham. Some of them look more like Japheth. So there's not one typical look for an Israelite, because we are, you know, we are the nucleus of all of the looks of all the other nations, because that royal's powerful seed came from Adam, who's the father of all human beings. All people on the earth have Adam as their father. And then that went down to Noah. And then that strength went from Noah to Shem. And then from to us. That's why we can have a wide range of looks within our families. All right. That's why we have girls that we call what? China. That's why we have people that we have in our family that look like they could be Native American or they could be black. But if you look at China, China doesn't have people with eyes like us, faces like ours, and hair like ours. We have a baby born with blue eyes, you know, blonde hair. This is normal in some groups of dark-skinned people. Look at the native peoples of Australia. They have people born with blonde hair and blue eyes. And that goes into the admixture of the children of Japheth, which is in Hawaii, when they were still in the Mediterranean area. All right. And they started to do things with the so-called white man. And then the white man picked up traits and characteristics that got fused into his bloodline that he passes along now to his children. So an anomaly became the ideal for them because it was such a rare human condition. And the condition is called leprosy. When we go into the book of Leviticus chapter 13, that's what produced the blonde hair and the pale skin. But nonetheless, Esau is given the blessing, and Isaac gives the blessing to Jacob also, and tells Jacob to go off and get a woman from Padan Aram, which is about 10 miles north of the Syria-Turkey border. So he went into Turkey. Man. Right now, we don't have too much development going on in Africa. We were in Turkey, the Middle East, Iraq. All right, that's where we come from. So some of us happen to look, you know, African, look more Middle Eastern, quote unquote. When you take us off and put us over there, we can blend in a little more. All right, but we have different looks in our nation. All right, so now that's pretty much the summary. The sword. Remember, the sword and the sword and the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven above. All right. So the richness of the resources and the richness of the land is the dwelling place that was prophesied on both Esau and on Jacob. So we find ourselves in the same place with Esau having the militaristic, having the aggressive advantage over us with his machines, with his tanks, with his guns, with his all of his weapons, essentially equating to the prophecy and the blessing of living by the sword. And then he went to all the other earth and went to the best places on the earth, took it over. He let anybody go anywhere else, but he went up to the best place of the earth and took it over. And where he's at, that ain't the best parts of the earth, we ain't hardly over there. All right, we ain't even hardly over there. All right, so that's pretty much it for the Torah portion. I hope this clears up who Esau is, who the so-called white man is, and I hope it shows you that it's not the so-called Arab. So now we can have Aliyah on. If there's nothing else that we need to go into, I think Aliyah is going to wind everything down for us. So Isaac, you know, and Isaac is taking everything very well, man. Isaac is not really going off or tripping too bad on nobody. Isaac's like, you know what, man, here, take this blessing, you know, and everything else, and you know, you're gonna be all right. Don't even trip. All right. So now Aliyah on. All right, so pretty much gonna be it for now. Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh Allahayna Yahweh Cut. Let's do a scroll down. So I think I may have a couple of questions, and then we'll go ahead and go up a little bit. Up. Rolling past the comments. Great. Let's not throw out alcohol. Praise to the Most High. Go down again. All right. It says, bring it out. What did it say?
Let's bring that out for these Negro Latinos only foolishness.
Okay. All praise to the Most High. Yeah, we don't have just one look, man. Our look is brown skin. Could be light brown, could be dark brown. All right, go ahead down a little more. And then people give the white man too much credit, man. They want to say everything light skin is because of the white man. Like if there was no light skinned people on the earth if it wasn't for white skin. It wasn't for white people, man. You imagine that? All right. Yeah, you got different shades. The genes express themselves different ways, just like height, skin tone, color. All right. So that's pretty much all we need to go into today. I have a very important, very, very important call I need to make with one of our dearly beloved brothers in Israel, that the Most High is leading his spirit through some very wonderful and grand things. All right. So Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh Allahayna Yahweh Kad wa Habda At Yahweh Allahayka wa Kal Labaka wa Bakal Napaska wa Bakal Ma'atka. Hail Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is one. You shall love Yahweh your power with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Now I might try to come again and do a short one to recap on this because I might have rushed through some of these things. I don't think I did, but just to be fair, I'm going to come back hopefully a little later if I review it or think about it and see something else and I need to bring out something more. I'm going to get back on and do a part 2 of this 6-day Aliyah for the Torah Parashah Toldot from Genesis 27:28 to Genesis 28:3. White power and brown paradise. All brown-skinned people on the planet Earth, the Most High gave a paradise to. He gave the white people the cold places, or the white people wanted to take the cold places with bunch of mountains, Swiss Alps, all right, the Pyrenees, okay, bunch of cold places with a lot of mountains. That's the places they took. Why? Because all the prime real estate was already taken, baby. That's how you know he one of the last ones to get his seat of power in the world, man. You coming up on the scene in 33 BC trying to take something over, man. That's the end of the world now. 333 BC under Alexander. That's the last empire. There was the last one to come out come off the bench, man. You had all the brown skin nations ruling before them. All right. So and they got the piece of real estate that nobody wanted, which was the cold places, the rainy places. It's nice areas, but it's not no place you want to live at forever. But it suits, you know, what was available. So then the Most High had to put that spirit on him to leave there and go to where the brown skinned people were, in the tropical areas and the oceanic areas. Okay, that's the prophecy, and the so-called white man have fulfilled that prophecy, not the Arabs. All right, y'all. So that's it. That's all. And the Most High Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai bless you. Yahweh is the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Yahweh, he sent his son Yahweh Shai, who the world called Jesus Christ, which is a black man, to die for our sins. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, Americans, Central, South, and the Caribbean are the 12 that the Bible talks about. All right, in the name of Yahweh, Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh, come.